In this city of prey, I am the only hunter.
I always say, when life gets hairy, grin and bear it.
Hello! I'm Hunter Harden.
And I'm Papa the Bear.
And welcome to the Real Housebears.
Oh, God. Please. Please, Lord, please. Please, New Jersey is over.
Louie, I'm sorry about what I said about you on the podcast. Do you forgive me?
No.
Come on, it's the very
That
last.
is our last
it's the
gum
last
chewing,
one.
at least for like almost a year, probably.
I don't know. I think I might bring it back out just randomly.
You chewed that for all it was worth, didn't you?
I needed to.
You did?
For the people that do love
For
the gum
people.
smacking.
For the people.
I did it for the people.
You did it for
the gum smackers.
people.
The gum smackers out there that love the sound of gum smacking,
gum
which there are
smackers.
people out there.
I think you're not classy.
I'm sure there are. There is
all
someone
kind of flavors
for
out there.
Everyone.
Yes.
There's someone for everyone.
I mean, Louie's dating Teresa.
Oh my gosh.
Engaged to Teresa.
They're going to be married any minute, I'm sure. They're just so anxious about it all. You know what I'm anxious for? My housewives chat group from work, they're all arrived. Well, not all of them, but a good majority of them are arriving in town today. And I'm going to get to see them tonight.
See you soon.
Are you going to sign autographs?
Well, I'm not anyone important, but we are going to go to Beauty Lab on Thursday.
Yay.
I do know that Dre will be there. I don't have confirmation that Heather will be there, but I'm really excited to see my housewives friends and have more people to talk housewives with, because you're pretty much the only person I have like once a week to talk housewives
And we
with.
can only talk about it during the podcast.
I know. When we talk about it, when we're watching, I'm like, stop talking about it. We have to save it for the podcast.
I know, but sometimes I have really funny things to say.
I know, you really do. So write it down so you don't forget it for the podcast.
I quit.
So to my housewives chat group at work, I'm so excited to see you and looking forward to going to Beauty Lab on Thursday.
See you guys later.
I will not be going because I have to fly to Chicago.
I know you were originally going to go with us, and then at the last minute you're like, oh, by the way,
I forgot that I was because I'm booked on Thursday night and I'm booked on Saturday night in Chicago. So I had to leave on Thursday. I'm a world traveler. I just got back from New York City.
I know.
What?
I know.
What?
That's
New
why I'm wearing my
York?
Broadway shirt today that you got me.
Yes, I sure did. Because I walked around Times Square. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we're going to be at Prohibition, where Justin and Whitney had their party first season. After Beauty Lab, we're
Oh
going
my
to
gosh,
Prohibition.
you guys are going on location.
Yeah, we're like going to see where the van was, where the arrest was. Well, not the actual arrest, but where the van was. They're going to actually go to Beauty Lab and get some treatments and at least meet Dre. And then we're going to go to Prohibition afterwards.
How meta.
I know, right? That's going to be a fun trip.
It's like you're giving like a tour, like people give tours of like murder hot spots or haunted places, and you're like, here's the Salt Lake City Housewives tour.
I know, yeah. Maybe I'll have to have a drive-by at Whitney's.
Yeah.
Just knock on her door. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
I got some friends over.
I mean, we could also do it with Heather's too.
Yes.
I mean, we know we're both of the
Hey, Heather, you weren't at Beauty Lab, so we just thought we'd stop by.
Yeah, hi. I have fans. You have to sign autographs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry you don't have your hair and makeup done.
Sorry. I'm sorry you have to take one of your kids somewhere, but
That's what it's like to be my friend. Hate it for you.
hey, she could use me for any of my fame if she wants to get. Hey, I got her into Salt Lake City Pride. I let her skip that line where I was working. Boom.
Yeah. So she owes us one.
I am over the land of make-believe with these two.
Because she couldn't possibly get in front of line herself using her own name.
I know. Well,
But as long as she doesn't quit being my friend.
I can't have anybody quit.
Because I just show up. She's like, I quit being your friend. I'm like Joe Gorga. I quit.
That's going to have to be some lot of paperwork. Like, you got lots of paperwork you got to fill out if you're going to quit.
Yeah, because you're going to, especially if you're going to quit being my friend.
And I get half of everything.
So our final New Jersey recap episode, again, we said it last week or last time we recapped New Jersey, but I loved this season, but I didn't love that Traci was completely cut out of the reunion.
But how can you get to know someone if you're not allowed to ask them a question?
I know.
I mean, she was there for hours and hours in full glam. She actually got on stage and filmed.
Yeah.
Well, they just live across the water. So she didn't, I mean, she just had to take a car there. But nonetheless, to spend hours there getting ready and filming, and then also to film a full season and not even get a glimpse on the reunion.
Yeah.
I guess we can be pretty confident that Traci and Tiki are no more.
Oh, no.
I know.
They helped push some story along, but I mean, like, it was just Teresa being insane this whole season.
Why am I nuts?
I know, but I loved Traci because she would call Teresa out.
Yeah, she would.
So, anyway, R.I.P. Traci and especially Tiki. Tiki, trust me, we'll still be thinking about you.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
So, reunion part 2 starts off where Georgia Joe Gorga quit.
Ooh.
We all were like, yeah, right. You ain't gonna get rid of that fame.
I know. He's like, I don't need this show. I'm like, yeah, you have. I bet it's really nice to have that show.
yeah, and that salary. So Joe goes and joins the guys. He's like, my sister's not a sister. And Louis like, yeah, she is. She's your sister. She is.
Oh, my God, Louis.
And Joe's like, no, she's not. And then on stage, Teresa's like, I'm not putting him down.
I love this whole segment because all it is her contradicting herself.
Seriously.
That's all it is like within the same sentence, she contradicts herself.
Yeah, she's
multiple
like, I'm not putting you down, but I wouldn't have to put you down if you would call out Margaret and Joe, and I wouldn't call you bitch, even though I never called you bitch, and that wasn't putting you down.
And then I wouldn't have to call you a bitch that much, is what she said, word for word, because I just watched it like an hour ago. Like, Teresa, my goodness gracious.
I would call you bitch half as much as I call you bitch.
Exactly. But you are being a bitch. But what's wrong with being a bitch? But you're being a bitch.
And there's nothing wrong with being a bitch, and that's not an insult. But I wouldn't insult you if you wouldn't call out Joe and Margaret.
And maybe you should be more involved with the housewives and call Margaret out. It's like...
But don't you dare be involved with the housewives.
Oh my God, Teresa. She is a Russian roulette gun, but all the bullets are in it.
and Andy's like, Teresa, go and talk to Joe. And she's like, well, I always have to, kiss his butt. He's always been the youngest, so I've always had to kiss his ass, and I don't want to have to kiss his ass, but okay, fine, I'll go backstage. But I wasn't even putting him down.
The fact that she says that I've been kissing his ass, it's like this whole group has been kissing your ass. And giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Way back when in the first episode of the reunion, when Andy's like, name a time when you have had Melissa's back. I'm also trying to think, when has she had Joe's back? I'm sure she has. And
in past seasons, like a long time ago probably, but I don't think I've seen any recent seasons where she's had his back.
And Joe, and meanwhile, backstage is like, so if Louis goes out and defends your honor, like I've defended maybe my wife's honor, or defended myself for that matter. If Louis goes out there and talks about the other wives at all, then he's a bitch.
Jeez, the B word is being thrown around a lot.
And Teresa's like, it's different, Joe. And he has to defend himself against Margaret. And he's like, but if he has to defend himself against Margaret, who's he doing it for? For you. So therefore, he's a bitch.
Yes. My goodness gracious. It is so frustrating to be her brother.
And meanwhile, on stage, the other women are like, here are all the ways that Louis been a bitch. Like when he called out Margaret.
I know.
And he was like, you don't intimidate me on your worst day. That's bitch boy moves.
That's bitch boy moves. Yeah. I think we need to keep that in our repertoire of words. Like,
bitch boy moves?
That's a bitch boy move.
That's a bitch. Maybe we will.
Bitch boy move.
I think maybe
that's a BBM.
No, that sounds too much like a bowel movement. But we might work bitch boy moves in. We might, if I remember.
If I can remember it, yeah.
A bunch of assholes.
So Louis like, Joe's the only housewife that gets involved in the drama. And she's like, yes, but I don't want him to. But I do want him to talk to Margaret and Joe.
It's just, there's no... you can't have a rational conversation.
And now... on stage, Jackie really wants to make amends with Jennifer, but she starts off going, I feel like you act differently when Teresa's around, so I'm going to talk to you when Teresa's not around. I was like, that's not a good way to start off. Let's be friends.
But did you see everybody around there kind of shake their head like, yes?
100%. And it's true.
It is true.
Because when Teresa's not around, Jennifer will agree with the facts.
And she will also defend Teresa.
Yeah, but when Teresa's around, Jennifer won't even agree with the facts. She just stays quiet and only defends Teresa when she can.
Yeah.
But when Teresa's not around, she'll be like, yes, of course that she's being irrational or whatever.
Yeah, of course she's insane.
Yes. But Jackie wants to be friends with Jennifer. She wants to be able to move forward, but she doesn't want to feel like every time they move forward, they're going to get back with Jennifer, and Jennifer is going to have hurt her some. And they end up talking a little bit more about it and how, again, talking even more about how Jennifer is nicer when Teresa's not around. It's a pretty cordial conversation, but, eventually at some point it gets interrupted because there's so much screaming backstage.
So Andy has to go backstage.
Yeah,
to deal
he's
with this
like,
now. He's like, oh, Daddy's coming.
I know. But Teresa's still yelling at Joe. Well, if you would have told Margaret and Joe B to shut up, then I wouldn't have to call you a bitch boy.
She just deflects.
Take it off of me.
Deflects,
Take it off of me.
deflects.
Let's put it on Margaret and Joe. Take it off of me.
Yes, she just cannot. I can't.
But Joe's still like, I quit. You know what? There is not enough money worth my sister on national television calling me a bitch boy or
Cut me
putting
down,
me down.
cutting down my wife.
Yeah, there's not enough money worth that. And, I pretty much agree with that. Mm-hmm. But he's too addicted to the fame. That's not going to happen. And then Andy's like, listen, Teresa, Joe's part of the show.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, this whole show has been about your family.
Yeah.
I hate fighting with my family.
And now Andy is now going to try to explain once again to Teresa that whether or not Margaret was going to say it or not or whatever, he was going to bring all this stuff up about Louis. But still, Teresa's like, well, that's different because you're not my friend. And Margaret's supposedly supposed to be my friend. So I don't know how that makes any sense.
Yeah,
but,
she's like, she didn't actually say you're not my friend, but I wish she had.
Yeah, she kind of went that way. She was kind of like, well, that's different because you're asking the questions, but Margaret's supposed to be my friend.
I wish she would have said, yeah, but you're not my friend.
I would have taken it that way if I was Andy.
I think that's funny. But Teresa's again, she's like, but I would never put Joe down. And Joe's like, but you have been.
And Andy's like, you just did.
Andy's like, listen. And she actually did. She stops for Andy. And he's like, listen to what Joe is telling you.
These are his feelings.
And Joe is very calm and rational. He's like, listen, I love you. I don't want anything to come between us, but you can't talk to me like that. And she just hugs him. I'm sorry. That's it. It was quick. It was quick.
It was really. It was like she wouldn't even let him finish the sentence before she just wanted to be over with.
She would have just done that a long time ago. She could have done that 10 minutes ago and saved us all.
Hindsight.
Or it's not saved us all. I mean, I enjoyed it. But,
if you could go back in time and change a lot, I mean, you could.
Right. So she hugs. We're all supposedly okay. Everyone's going back to the stage. Dolores' boyfriend calls. And Andy hijacks the phone. Hey buddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna meet you in person soon.
Yeah,
you're gonna be part of the Bravo family.
We're so excited.
Yeah.
We're so excited about you and Dolores.
But also I can't have you and Dolores get into a conversation because we're about to air again, so I'm gonna get you off the phone. Bye.
So we go into Dolores' package. Dolores' mom is doing better. Frank is living with David in the house that Dolores and David built together.
It doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you.
It didn't me either.
It's just, of course they did.
It made perfect...
I have heard more about David in this season than I did when they were dating.
You know what? You're right.
I know more about him now.
Yeah.
Than I did the whole season they were together.
Yeah, you're right. That's funny. So I guess Frank is just in between homes.
I don't know what Frank's doing.
No one can tell.
I think Frank needs companionship.
He does. He does. He does.
Thank you for having me.
Dolores doesn't. But she's got a hot boyfriend, so maybe she does. She's moved out of the townhouse. It's not appropriate to have Frank in the house with the new boyfriend, which is valid.
Yeah, of course.
But it's killing Frank.
And that was a short stay at the house.
Yeah, it was.
He was like, I'm moving all my stuff in. A week later, all right, I'm getting a boyfriend, and plus the kids don't want you here.
Yeah. You will lose a relationship with your children if you stay here.
I mean, it seems like Frank is a great guy, but he's just made really bad choices as a father.
as a human.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to give him benefit of the doubt in some kind of form or fashion. That, some people are good people, but like as dads, they're just not good dads.
You can tell that Frank will say something just because it's funny, whether it's appropriate
He
or
has
not.
no filter.
And that's probably hard for some people to take.
Especially if they've never lived with them before.
Right,
It's like a whole different person.
Yes. So everyone has met Polly, Dolores' boyfriend, who is also close to his ex-wife. So you would think that it would be make a little bit more sense between.
But are they living together?
True. David, who is now living with Dolores' ex, is dating Louis' ex.
Oh, now you're in the web.
It's like New Jersey is like Eastern Kentucky.
I mean, like,
I
how
can
big
say
is
that
this
about Eastern
town?
Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky. It's okay. I'm calling out my own. But some of those people up in the hills of Kentucky, they all each other's brother, sister, husband.
I
and
just
wife.
watched this documentary about this doctor that put his seed into a dozen plus women, so all these people are related in this town and they had no idea. So they're all like, well, I hope to God I don't find more of these family, because they did ancestry.com, and all of a sudden like 153 hits of close relatives happened,
my gosh.
all within like miles of each other. And they're like, what if I dated one of these people?
I'm disgusted.
What if I had an intimate relationship with one of these people that could be my brother or sister?
That is awful.
It's horrible, but that's kind of what it feels like right now in New Jersey, because it's just like, yo.
Frank has put his seed in every woman in New Jersey.
Everybody's related to everybody in some form or fashion.
It's
It all comes down to
It's like
Frank.
the gay community.
Yeah, yes,
It's like
oh,
the
yeah.
gay community. Have you seen that meme where it has like a group of
picture
gays
of-
and he's like, how do
yeah.
y'all know each other? And like, these two were engaged, but this one had sex with that one, and that one
These ones
date
used
this
to date,
one.
and this one's his ex, and this one was his training coach.
Yeah, in Salt Lake City, every homosexual has hooked up with every other homosexual. We learned that as soon as we moved here.
Oh, yeah. Lots of house parties.
Yes. So it took a long time for Dolores to walk away from David, but I really related to her. She's like, it takes me a long time, but when I finally do, I'm cut off.
Yeah.
I'm done. And that's very much me. That's very much me. We could potentially see Dolores with a ring next year, though.
Hey.
She won't be walking away from that one.
Bling, bling.
Recently, Rihanna said that she relates to Teresa and her 4 daughters.
4 daughters.
I love that Rihanna is touching base in all of these pop culture shows. She touches base on Drag Race all the time.
Salt Lake City
And now
Housewives.
she's doing Salt Lake City Housewives, and now she's doing
New Jersey. I think she's done a few others as well.
I bet she has. She's just like she just tweets them randomly.
That's amazing.
I love it.
I would love
and that's how she's always brought up, is through, she tweeted this about you.
Then we go to the New Jersey kids package. Jackie's kids liked camp, but Jackie didn't like how expensive it was and how much prep and laundry there was.
Deconstruction.
At one point, Jennifer criticized Margaret for sending her kids to sleepaway camp.
And then Jennifer tries to talk her way out of it, but she only wants her kids to be at home.
Yeah, she doesn't even let her kids sleep over at a friend's house. I'm like,
so you're not going to let your child have any childhood memories, for one, or have any social skills.
right, yeah. Why don't you homeschool them while you're at it?
Oh my goodness.
Don't let them have
Imagine.
friends. Homeschool them and, lock them in a cage at night.
I mean, some families do that.
Well, not good ones.
Not good ones.
Not
You
good
see them, they
ones.
all end up in jail.
Gabby is still with her guy, but she works 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie is single. Hey, Frankie.
No.
Trip to Utah.
He is such a catch, and that he's like kind of nerdy makes him even more attractive.
Seriously, that makes me completely love him. If he was a jerk, I'd hate him.
Yeah, if he was like conceited and stuff.
If his personality matched the way he looks and the way a lot of attractive people act, yeah, it would be very unattractive. Antonia is happy. I don't know how you can figure out that Antonia is ever happy about anything, but she is happy at her new school.
I think she's
finally.
got 2 sets of friends now, her
Yeah.
old friends and new friends.
That's great.
I mean, going to a new school sucks, but you make new friends.
Exactly. I moved the summer before my freshman year. I had to change to a whole new school where I wasn't going to be with anyone that I went to elementary or then called junior high with. So it's terrifying.
Oh, I went
It is terrifying.
I went to school through middle school, Did I say middle school? Middle school, elementary school, middle school, and high school.
In the same,
with the same group of friends.
No, I
and
completely
people.
switched. I completely switched. But I took over. I'm kidding, I did not. Margaret and Joe have a good relationship with 5 out of their 6 kids, which I think is positive because I always kind of understood over the past years, like, Margaret is estranged from everyone in her family other than her mother. So I was excited to hear that. Jennifer Aiden, though, it was a good interjection. You have to give her credit. She's like, yeah, but don't worry about it. Kids are resilient. They can go to therapy. Margaret totally deserved that.
She did deserve that.
She totally deserved that.
I kind of understand what she was saying. You know, kids live through it, but it's still not a nice thing to say. Kids shouldn't have to go through it.
And Margaret was like, okay, it was a foot and mouth moment.
Yeah,
it really was. It was a foot and mouth
it.
moment. She's like, it didn't come out the way that I wanted to come out.
Yeah.
And people hated me for it, and I kind of understand why. Teresa and Gia spent Gia's 21st birthday partying together on a yacht.
It wasn't a gold yacht?
No, only the helicopters
Only
are
the
gold.
helicopters are gold.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
Well, she looked happy to be on the yacht, even though it wasn't gold.
Right. Maybe it was made of silver. Who knows? But why was Gia a little skeptical about Louis moving in with Louis? Was it the price? And first Teresa's like, no,
it wasn't.
and then Andy's like, but she said it was on the show.
Raw footage, like the footage we do have, unlike the footage we have of you, like having backed up Melissa.
Yeah, but it's because Margaret put it out there.
Oh my God.
That's all you gotta do. Just bring it back to Margaret.
That's all she does.
Yeah. No, Gia only said it because Margaret put it out there.
My goodness.
And Andy's like, man, though, Louis' exes really want to bury him. And then Teresa gives the moment. I don't know if it's a good moment, but gives the moment of the reunion.
He's dating Teresa Giudice. That's why. Okay, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Wow.
What the f***?
It was so ugly.
Like,
It was so ugly.
and also, like, when she's walking away in multiple scenes, like going to get Joe and stuff, it's not flattering on her butt, and it makes her waddle like a duck.
Well, she does waddle when she walks.
It makes it even worse.
Yeah, it
makes it so much worse.
I enjoy watching Teresa walk because she does waddle, always.
And I don't want to see my reflection in it.
No. But you know, on Watch What Happens Live, Erica Jane and someone from, I think, Selling Sunset said that they're actually familiar with that jumpsuit, and it looks much better in person than it does on camera. I'll give it a bit of a go. Because I liked it from far away.
That's not great.
So, Dolores, what about drunk Melissa finger banging you? I was like, did someone say that Melissa finger banged
I know.
her?
I was like, did I miss this?
I was really confused, but
I do know when Melissa gets drunk, I can always tell because she starts getting all playful with all the girls and frisky.
Yeah. But apparently Melissa's never been with a woman, but she had to think about it for a second. I was like, I think you would remember if you've been there.
Well, she's maybe like done things but not been with. Maybe like kissed a girl.
Made out.
But
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Not like finger bang. My goodness.
So to Jackie's eating disorder, we start off by talking about putting things in her mouth. Jackie, for someone who doesn't like to give blowjobs. But Jackie's eating normally. She's out of the danger zone health-wise.
I'm glad that she felt pressure. Well, not glad that she felt pressure, but I'm glad that the pressure of the world watching her pushed her to do this more.
Yeah. I thought it was...
Give it anything that it takes to get help.
I thought it was really profound when her therapist said, you know, when you see a child who is malnourished, you want them to gain weight. You were malnourished. You need to gain weight.
Yes.
I thought that was a really good analogy.
Shh.
I know, shh.
Teresa's going to hear you.
Shh, don't bring attention to it.
I'm glad she got rid of her measuring spoons.
I know, that was
That's
crazy.
a big thing.
Evan is so supportive.
Yeah.
Sometimes he tries a little bit too hard. He's like, let me cook for you. And she's like, no, I'm not ready for that. No, calm down.
But there's nothing he can do. So he's just trying every avenue.
Yeah, it's hard to feel helpless.
Yeah, it's hard when you can't help somebody than when you could.
But you know what? She's making great progress. She's going on a 6-day vacation.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel like she has the option to skip meals anymore. She was giving herself 2 meals a week to eat in front of people.
Jesus.
And if she had to go out 4 times, she just cut that meal in half. That's horrible. I can't imagine. I would be...
It's too much energy focused on the wrong things.
Yes. I've been through periods of my life when I starved myself to lose weight, and I remember just feeling hungry 24 hours a day. But I knew that it was just always temporary for me, that it was just for me to lose some weight. For her, it was never going to go away.
That 2-week diet I did was hellacious. It was the
Well, I
worst
mean,
thing
I used
I've
to
ever
do several
experienced.
months long. I used to be pretty bad. I'm not very healthy about my
You're
dieting.
like, here's my almond for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to spit it out. I'm just going to chew it up and like
Just
spit
suck
it
out the flavor.
Yeah, suck the flavor out, spit
It's
out.
got salt on it. It'll help me retain.
That retains.
Oh my gosh. As someone with an eating disorder, how do you feel about Teresa fat-shaming Margaret, Jackie? And then there were several examples, though, of Margaret and Jackie fat-shaming. First, they're like, I don't think anyone should ever fat-shame anyone. And then we see some things. So it really didn't go anywhere.
No,
it really
I mean,
didn't go
nobody
anywhere.
really, it got touched on, but nothing happened.
And I do slightly agree with Teresa that she's like, it's because my athletic wear is awesome. And it wouldn't let anyone jiggle. But she was still being shady.
She was still being really shady
being
about
shady.
it.
What do you think about Melissa Gorga having athletic wear now? Can you believe that?
I bet it just pisses Teresa off.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And you can get Melissa's like in like Ross and TJ Maxx and Marshalls, I think.
It's accessible.
Yeah.
Accessibility is 97% of the law.
Oh my gosh. You don't even know what you're talking about.
But I do love that Teresa takes this little jiggle comment and missing a meal comment that Jackie was talking about or whatever. Or whoever said missing a meal.
Teresa said Margaret never misses a meal or something like that.
Yeah, and it just, Teresa, my goodness, she cannot hold her. And throughout this whole episode, whenever Margaret's talking, Teresa's just sitting there rolling her eyes about no matter what it is.
Completely. But you know, when Teresa runs out of words, she just starts cussing and yelling and telling people to shut up. Like
Yeah,
when
she
she
did.
can no longer defend herself,
She has nothing to back it up.
she just starts cussing and telling everyone to shut up.
Shut up, yeah.
And she does it multiple times.
You ruined your night.
No, you ruined your night.
I didn't ruin your night. You ruined your night.
No, you ruined my
You
night.
ruined your night.
All right. You ruined my
You
night.
ruined your night.
You did.
You did.
You did. You did. Okay, keep it going.
And I love Margaret when she was doing that because you could tell Margaret was getting such a kick out of it.
Yeah, she does.
No, you ruined your night.
It was
No,
funny.
You ruined your night.
It was funny. I mean, at some point you have to laugh at someone's
I mean, like,
stupidity.
goodness gracious.
I agree that Jennifer Aydin's plastic surgery wasn't actually as excessive as people would think. She's had a tummy tuck after having children, she's had a boob lift after breastfeeding, and she had her nose done. Well, she had her chin done, but undone. So that's, you know, considering Hollywood and rich people in general, I don't think that's too excessive.
5.
I mean, well, no, there's only 3 well, if you discount the
because
chin.
Each boob,
You're
the chin, the nose, and then the tummy tuck.
Okay, I wasn't giving each boob its own number.
It's still a surgery
okay
in a different area.
Okay, fine. Now we dive a little bit more deeply into the infidelity. We dive a little bit more into Jennifer versus Margaret. So Bill, you know, just didn't say much this season.
He was embarrassed, like we were saying.
Yeah, that's
that-
what we
you
kind
could
of
tell.
figured. But when Jennifer says that she eventually forgave Bill, she also eventually forgave Margaret. She's like, I don't want to be mad at anybody anymore. And Teresa's not happy about
Teresa cannot handle it. She needs to roll her eyes so far into the back of her head.
that. Yeah. But I'm with Jennifer Aydin. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be mad.
Right? That's too much energy on something stupid, like something that we could fix.
Right. But Andy, you know, he's like, Jennifer, I've told you before, when you have a past, you can't hide it when you get on a reality show. And, you know, it's becoming more and more evident all the time. But Jennifer's like, you know, I knew it could be a thing, but we just agreed that we would deny it.
Yeah, that was news to me.
She did the exact opposite.
Yeah, right away she was like,
Get the story straight.
Get your facts straight.
Well, there you go. The kids are doing pretty well. We saw Gabby being sad. Jennifer stayed strong, so the kids didn't feel vulnerable. So it moves to a question about Jennifer being fake. Melissa saying that Jennifer is fake. How could we say possibly that Jennifer was being fake this season with all the stuff that was going on? And Melissa's like, I was just, coming back.
Yeah.
From something that Jennifer started. And then we get into who said, when did criminal come into the conversation?
Crook.
Same
thing.
When did crooked actually. When did crooked
yes.
come into the conversation? And we realized that actually it was also in response to something that Melissa Gorka had posted. But Melissa's like, can we just agree, Jennifer, that in general, you're always kind of like initiating hate towards me?
Yeah, constantly.
Which I think is kind of true.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aiden has been talking about Melissa faking her storyline for years.
Yeah.
I mean, practically as long as she's been on the show. But eventually we realized that Melissa's initial post was in response to what Jennifer had said on the reunion. So it does really start with Jennifer.
It does. She's always quick to say something.
I mean, come on.
So now moving over to Margaret. Margaret, why is Jennifer a hypocrite? And Margaret's like, because Jennifer blames women for men's mistakes. Why is Bill so great all of these years when she actually got the mistress fired?
Yeah. Well, why is the woman fired when the man was equally responsible for this?
Yeah.
I think it's because it was his practice.
Yeah, I guess.
So
right.
why would he get fired from his? But also, I could see what Jennifer is saying, or Margaret is saying about how it's double-sided.
Yeah, it is. You know what? They're all a bunch of hypocrites.
All of them.
And, Margaret does have as much to give back as Jennifer's going to give herself. Mm-hmm. Margaret's got a really sharp tongue. But Melissa Gork is like, you guys are seriously going to get on Margaret for saying a joke about mail order bride when people are calling her a slut and a pig and a whore?
But honestly, though, there's been way worse things, specifically from Teresa alone, been said on this show.
Yeah. And then, as per usual, it just gets into a big screaming match, and we see Andy Cohen lose it.
That was funny.
It was funny.
I kind of liked it because I just liked his face. He's like,
I know, he looked like Cartman. He made the face that Cartman makes when he gets frustrated.
It makes me think of like a kid when the kid gets really frustrated.
Yes, just 100%. Exactly. All right, well, I'm frustrated and I need a drink.
Yes.
Let's get out of here and we'll be right back and recap Reunion Part 3.
Bye.
Shut up! I got a dinner reservation, honestly!
We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Anchor by Spotify.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, let me give you a rundown. Basically, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Here's how it works.
Anchor lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Then you can distribute your podcast to the most popular listening platforms, including Spotify, with a single tap. Anchor is also the only place you could publish video podcasts to Spotify directly.
With Anchor, creators can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions.
And best of all, Anchor is totally free.
Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Today. And we're back.
We're back to Jennifer Aiden's affair.
Oh my gosh, we're back to it all the time.
I know. I wonder if we'll still be talking about it next season.
Oh, probably.
I was thinking,
so.
I was watching that today. I was like, I bet you we'll still be talking about this next season.
It'll come up again.
Yeah.
Probably by Teresa.
I hope Bill and Jennifer are doing good so that we're not talking about hardships between them.
Yeah.
So we do find out that the affair lasted about 2 months. So once Jennifer found out and Bill had to take a trip to Miami, she had her brother call the hotel, pretend to be Bill, and get Jennifer a key to the room.
Which was smart.
That could have been dangerous.
Yes.
But it turned him on.
Yeah. It sounds like something you or something.
Well, having been cheated on before and having decided that I was going to make it work, you do go through this hot and heavy period where you're having a lot of sex again and you're like trying to feel close to that person again. Mm-hmm. So when she was talking about it, I was like, oh, I know exactly what she was talking about.
Yeah.
And then luckily for Bill, there were so many people around that she couldn't really deal with it, or they couldn't really deal with it. And so she just, compartmentalized it and they moved on with their lives. Like, he lucked out there.
Yeah.
He really loved out. And I love that Dolores was like, listen, when a man is remorseful, you can move past it.
Well, and also they had a family, too.
True.
On top of it.
True. Frank was not
remorseful. Oh, shocking.
Frank's priorities are a little off.
Knowing that he had a chance to fix it just by calling this woman to say it's over, and he still didn't do it.
To be honest with you, what shocked me was that it wasn't over a woman.
Yeah.
I just assumed that Frank was just tossing it all around New Jersey.
Just all over the place. I didn't know he had one girl.
So that was the big surprise, that he actually had an affair. I thought he was just tricking around New Jersey. But, having to deal with the affair now has brought Jennifer and Bill closer. And, I can relate to that too, because the wound isn't so fresh. And so you can talk about it maybe a little bit more easily than you could when it
happened.
Right. So, maybe there's a weird silver lining there. Margaret explains that she really never understood. Like, she never knew that Jennifer hadn't dealt with it ever. And so she really didn't realize the impact that it would make when she brought it up.
Yeah. And, she was sincere about her apology.
I feel so. I feel like she was as well. And then Melissa's like, were you even relieved just a little bit, Jennifer?
Just to have it just out and open.
And to finally get to deal with it?
Yeah.
I don't agree that she wanted to, punish Bill, but I do agree that she wanted to finally talk about it.
Yeah, have Bill answer for it at least.
And Jennifer's like, well, I appreciated it, but me as a mother did not.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine how it's going to affect my children.
Well, Jennifer's not really mad at Margaret anymore.
Hallelujah.
Thank God. Let's move on.
Well, first Andy's like, listen, Margaret, knowing what you know now, would you have brought it up? And Margaret's like, no, I wouldn't have. If I would have realized that it would have cut you to the core, that was what she said, that I wouldn't have said it. I don't know if I believe that, to be honest with you.
Well, once again, you could see Teresa. They cut to her and she's rolling her eyes. And it's like, gosh, Teresa.
And then we have a really moving moment about Marge Sr., and not really even about her birthday, but really about how her journey fled a war-torn country. And we are now experiencing, a war-torn country full of people who are fleeing.
Yeah.
And how triggering that is for Marge Sr., understandably.
I mean, to leave your whole life pretty much overnight?
Yes.
And just flee into the night to try to find a new home.
Yeah. And then get on a boat to a strange land
where nobody speaks your language.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. So it was really, I can only imagine how personal this Ukraine situation is to her and, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who have experienced something similar. The husbands join, and normally when the husbands join, I'm like, hoo-hoo, we're all going to party. It's going to be a lot of levity because they're funny.
Yeah, they're funny. They don't have any beef.
Yeah, but there's so much other beef going around. It wasn't as light, I felt, especially because of all of Louis.
And also Frank and Dolores and her new boyfriend and stuff. Like, you could tell there's tense. It was not fun there.
So I was surprised to find out that Frank had never lived with his kids until now.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
I had no idea, I guess. But again, I guess it happened right when Dolores was pregnant.
Like I said, he's just not a great father.
But she had 2 kids and he never lived with them?
No.
That's crazy. Joe B got his bags removed.
None of the
Under
guys.
his eyes?
None of the guys noticed.
Of course not.
I mean, why? How would you know? I wouldn't even notice.
True. I didn't realize that he had such bad bags under his eyes, but they do. It does look nice, especially.
It looks like it's still settling.
Yeah, but on Watch What Happens Live
It
afterwards,
looked way better.
Yeah. Evan feels bad that he could have maybe made more of an impact on Jackie earlier.
Okay, Evan, you got the husband award. Leave out. Shut up.
Bill and Jennifer are doing better. Louis did not enjoy his first season of the show.
Gasp.
This is a weird moment because Teresa keeps looking back at him for like approval and
or guidance or something.
Yes.
Like, is this right or is that wrong? Like, it's just weird. She cannot keep her eyes off of him.
She is terrified of offending him. But
Or
she
something.
also, and he is terrified of offending her, but he speaks in a calm way that she's not quite able to.
But like in the middle of Louis' speeches and stuff, Teresa is just continually going on with this war against Margaret.
What's crazy though is that Louis is like, at first he's like, well, you know, if Teresa would have let me talk, you know, Teresa's awesome, but sometimes she's a bit overprotective.
Bulldozes.
And, you know, really throws the blame on her. And you can tell that it kills Teresa because she can't yell at him.
No. Oh my goodness. The whole time Louis was saying that, I was like, ooh, Louis, be careful, be careful.
But she knows she can't yell at him because he won't tolerate it.
He won't tolerate it. Nope. He's got a strong hand in that relationship right now.
Yes.
You have to say like that.
Joe Gorga calls the men the wolf pack because it's so easy for them to get along. But is Joe Gorga so obsessed with Frank's balls?
I've never seen anything without balls, you know, so I am fixated.
I am. I want to see him.
I mean, we're all obsessed with him. And like Joe Gorga calls out steroid use right there on TV.
Right there. And, well, I mean, look at him. He's a blockhead.
Seriously, people don't get that big without steroids.
No, and you have to eat like a perfect life and train for hours and hours a day.
Frank spent his entire 20s and 30s and probably 40s at least doing steroids and eating thousands of calories a day.
Yeah, and working out hard. You can't, I mean, you do have to work out hard, but having steroids helps a lot.
But don't tell me that Joe Gorga hasn't done steroids.
Right, look at it, how deflated he is in this
He's
reunion.
at least taking human growth hormone if he's
Something.
not taking steroids, so don't even try. What does Frank think of Polly? This was tough, but funny. Well, I think he looks like Buzz Lightyear.
Boy, he looks like Buzz Lightyear.
Which is funny, but Dolores did not find.
She whips her head around. She's pissed.
If Dolores only knew how hot so many people, like, you know, I know quite a few people who are quite turned on by animated characters. I might know one in the closet.
Hey, you know what? Disney ruined me. They gave me every single like father figure that I needed to look up to in children's lives.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been turned on by a Disney character too. Back in my youth, I was turned on by Phoebus from Hunchback. And Captain John Smith from Pocahontas. I obviously was into blondes at the time. And
Beauty and the Beast.
well,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Before he changed, I want the Beast, not whatever
Yes.
grew out of him, that hairless wonder
but don't
guy.
tell me you wouldn't totally hook up with Gaston.
Oh yeah, his hair is covered in fur, and he's like totally like a dick, and that's probably good and bad. It's probably very selfish.
Why did you have a cock and balls in your mouth?
I hope I have a good soundbite to go with that. Frank and Polly don't quite see eye to eye. Polly doesn't understand Frank and Dolores' relationship. Imagine that. But Frank has asked Polly to go out, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah. And Dolores does make a point, like, let their relationship butt into something before you start butting your head into this relationship.
Right.
You're going to be in there, Frank. Just calm down.
I love that Andy is like, Frank, Dolores is piced.
There's probably nobody in this world that can piss her off like Frank does.
This stage has been a battleground today, and she hasn't been even remotely as mad as she is right now.
No, she is so mad.
But think about it. Now, how is Frank and Polly going to get along? Because whether you think Buzz Lightyear is a compliment or not, it clearly wasn't meant to be a complete compliment.
There's a reason why he's saying it.
So now it's going to be even more complicated, and I'm with Laura's like, great, now. At one point, I might have to choose, and that's ugly.
I love that Frank looks up into the upper right corner constantly while he's talking. He's always just like, whenever he's talking, he's just like looking up to the right-hand corner, like up into the lights.
You know what?
Maybe it's his good side or something?
But I used to look up when I was thinking. I got called out for it, and I went through a mock interview one time, and they said, quit looking up when you're thinking. So that's probably what he's doing. It's kind of like an just a reaction. I love that Andy asked Louis where he became such a great communicator, and then Louis doesn't communicate. He was like, just throughout the years, communicating. It's important. But he did communicate the video very well.
Like, that's what we needed. But you know what? I thought about it, and the only facts he was getting was from insane Teresa. So Teresa was saying, Margaret's out to get you. Margaret's the one doing all this. Margaret's doing all this. And so that's all Louis was getting. So Louis's like, I don't want to meet this woman. Like, she's just trying to cause drama. That's what my wife is saying. But then he watches the show and he's like, my wife's insane. I'm sorry, Margaret. You make complete sense now.
Right.
And I wish I would have talked to you instead of letting my wife talk for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we find out the video... a business partner, was already going to this retreat, and Louis was like, why not? So the guy, he was, yeah. But everyone else on this retreat was trying to commit to their partners, where Louis in real life was trying to break up. But they're like, you're here, it's time to commit to this woman.
Yeah, be a man.
So, probably by peer pressure. And
yeah,
plus,
of course. And that's probably what he thought that he was supposed to do.
And not to mention... I wouldn't be on a retreat with a bunch of guys and be like, no, I'm not going to do it, guys. Sorry. Yeah. I would be peer pressured into it too. So when he came back, she wanted a prenup for $1 million, and they broke up.
Yeah.
It could have been as simple.
That was so easy. My goodness.
Yes.
That was so easy.
So he gets a standing ovation practically. Everyone's like, thank you, Louis.
That's what we needed through this whole season.
We were just trying to give you a platform. And Louis like, yeah, well, if Teresa would have given me a chance to speak, it would have been different. Well, and you can
Teresa's
see
just
the steam. Her mirrors are getting fogged up.
Yes.
Her whole jumpsuit is getting fogged up. But what about all the other allegations like slashing tires and road rage and your family doesn't like you? And he's like, look, I was in toxic relationships.
And that makes sense because I've been in one toxic relationship and it made me do things that I couldn't believe that I did.
Right. He's never actually hit anyone, but there are some domestic abuse charges because of a heated argument.
He doesn't require sex 4 times a day because I guess that's abuse. And if that's abuse, then my bear is abusing me.
Well, listen, I wouldn't date Louis either then. You're barely hanging on by a thread.
I know. Thank God I leave on trips constantly. I have an excuse.
Seriously.
A reprieve.
So if I was Teresa, I'd dump his ass.
I mean, we haven't talked about your weekend, Dee, in a while.
Oh, thank God.
Maybe we should.
No, because Louis understands Margaret. And we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about how Louis understands Margaret. He doesn't blame her. And Teresa's like, yeah, he's just a nice guy. I'm not so nice.
Whatever. He's a nice guy. I'm insane.
Why am I nuts?
He's a nice guy.
And I don't want a Sex in the City wedding.
Because Louis wants a Sex in the City because that's his favorite show.
I'm sure he was humiliated.
So embarrassed.
There's nothing wrong with a straight guy loving Sex in the City, okay? But generally...
being called out in front of all those guys that are going to rip and tear him every chance that they get.
It's not typical that straight guys are into Sex in the City.
I'm a gay man and I've never even seen a single episode.
I live for Sex in the City, but nonetheless, I'm sure he was a little bit... felt quite embarrassed around
You can
all
see his
these like
face gets red.
macho guys. But Frank drinks an apple martini, so I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
It would be embarrassing if the 22-inch arm wasn't holding it, okay?
Louis is looking better and better from this
is.
episode
He
and
is.
explanations.
I saw in interviews that even Margaret Joseph was like, Louis is the MVP of the reunion.
100%. It changed
is.
my mind about him completely,
He
or at
is.
least gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I agree. We have a moment of Evan and Jackie again talking about the eating disorder and the kids noticing. Then we talk again about Bill Aiden and that he's glad that they didn't just deny.
The truth will set you free.
Yes, it will. Margaret apologized to Bill again, but I love she goes, Bill, I just want you to know that it was about the hypocrisy.
Yeah, it wasn't about you. I'm sorry that it hurt you so bad.
Did you have to say it was about Jennifer's hypocrisy? Did you have to say that in your
I feel like she
apology?
did.
What about Bill and Joe Gorga? And Jennifer Aiden said we've all been thinking. Like, you think that, Joe, that my husband is going to call me out and take your side?
No.
And Joe's like, well, listen, I mean, I just expected like a phone call the next day. And then he says something really stupid and misogynistic about men being more stable in the head.
I mean, how come Joe Gorga hasn't been canceled?
I mean,
He says such a...
it's kind of like, well, that's just Joe.
That's no, you could learn and grow.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
a human being.
Absolutely. Melissa jumps in and she's like, Jennifer Aiden, you antagonize and you ask for it. Joe is responding to what you said, but they've all made up.
Yeah, they've all been to dinner. Okay.
It was strange to see a picture of Bill and Jennifer with Joe and Melissa, considering how much Jennifer and Melissa generally don't get along.
Yeah.
Then Jennifer didn't appreciate Evan's accomplice comments, saying that
I
Bill
love it
was
that
accomplice.
Jennifer is picking apart what everybody else says specifically, and that she wants apologies for it and stuff. But
She's
it's
been
like,
blamed.
you have been picking up and saying all these things about everybody around here. You need to go on an apology tour.
Well, she feels like she needs to be vindicated about the crooked comment because apparently she was responding to Melissa.
And the digging stuff.
And now she wants to be vindicated about the digging because she actually didn't dig. Bill told her about a conversation that he had with Frank. So that's why Jennifer was like, oh, so Frank, tell me about that conversation.
Yeah.
Which is still digging.
It's
Don't get me
still
wrong.
digging, and still if you spread it, like...
But it made it sound like Jennifer was randomly calling people who
and trying
might
to find
have
out.
information.
Yeah.
So again, these people are just really bad with their words. So she is slightly vindicated, but not really. She's still digging by calling Frank back and like, hey, I heard about this.
Let's just say it instantly made me feel better.
The guys are sent away, but Joe has this ugly cheers to the guys about they're all bitch boys.
Oh
and
my
they're,
God, does he have to have a last word? Come on, Joe, shut up.
Well, actually, Louis had the last word.
Well, that's true, but it was still better than what Joe said.
I would rather hear Louis tell everyone
How he lost
my
his job, but he wants everybody to move forward instead of Joe mocking what everybody has
Yes.
said over the season.
But Teresa is so
Oh my God, she's so pissed because Margaret did that.
Right.
That's Margaret's fault that you lost your job. And once again, like, Andy's just trying to make sense to Teresa no matter what. Even saying the love of your life even disagrees with you.
But she won't.
No.
She won't. And it's weird to be like, Louis be like, Teresa, if you loved me, you wouldn't behave like this.
Holy
You are
crap.
making a mistake, by the way.
Yes.
She's not, but she's oddly not backing
She
down.
never heard that, because then when he walks off, she yells across the room, why would you shake his hand?
said-
About shaking Joe B's hand.
And he responds, because I'm a gentleman.
Yeah, like, my goodness. And Teresa just keeps going on about what pieces of trash they are or whatever. And I'm like, my goodness gracious.
Does Teresa owe Margaret an apology for calling her a see you next Tuesday and throwing the table at her?
Well, she already did. Half, kind of, did. She apologized to a group of people for a person provoking her.
Yeah, she did.
It wasn't her
apologize
fault.
to
Somebody
Margaret.
provoked her.
I love that Andy asks, so did Louis get turned on by a reaction like Joe did? And Teresa's like, well, Louis has never seen anybody act like that before. And Andy says, most people haven't. Andy called Teresa out multiple times. I loved it. I loved it.
I think she's the cause of a lot of his stress.
Think?
In this episode.
You think? Why isn't it okay to ask questions? There is no answer. It's just because Margaret brought it to light.
It's just she didn't.
No,
I can't go over this anymore.
And Margaret's like, listen, all the things Teresa has done for me, I've never come at her. I've always defended her.
She makes a list of all the things that she's done for Teresa and then makes a list of everything Teresa has done bad to her. I'm like, why are you even trying with this woman?
And there's another viewer question where, Teresa, when you have beef with everyone, maybe you're the problem.
Maybe you should look into your dress.
Do you ever change your opinion about anything? And Jennifer Aydin's like, yeah, she does. Of course she does.
Melissa is about to have a stroke. She's over in the corner. She cannot handle this hypocrisy. She can't handle the blatant lies.
Melissa has said in her confessionals more than once that Teresa is just stone cold, will not change her opinions.
No.
So it's completely...
has nobody seen this show?
Seriously. But we finally get into the reunion wrap-up because, Andy's like, we're on the Teresa merry-go-round. Whether I'm enjoying it or not, it doesn't matter.
I gotta get off.
I'm dizzy.
I have to get off.
I'm dizzy.
I love it that Andy apologized for screaming. And he says, he's like, whenever I'm around these New Jersey girls, I start turning into one. Honey, I understand what you mean.
You just start talking about them and you turn into one. Oh my gosh. So let's wrap up with something positive you're going to take away from this season. Jackie flat out says the show saved her life, which I thought was profound.
Very profound.
Dolores was most thankful for the softball charity event, which was a miracle.
Awesome, and it made so much money.
And it was a miracle that
nobody fought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Margaret loved celebrating Marge Sr. and making amends with Jennifer Aydin.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer said that she's going to work hard to continue to grow as a person and acknowledge her mistakes.
Meh.
That's hard for all of these housewives to do.
Yeah, it is.
So I hope that she does. Melissa made it all about, thank God Antonia is tumbling, life is good. That's all.
She's not going to turn into me when I was in my teenage years.
I feel like Antonia's story was supposed to be bigger this season. I feel like that was kind of, Melissa didn't really have much of a storyline.
I just don't think she had a storyline. I think that's all they had.
I think the Sweet 16 was supposed to be a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah, because they only showed a snippet of it.
Yeah, I think that there was supposed to be a lot more story about Melissa being a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Den Guy Margaret. Teresa found the love of her life. She's so happy. Can't you tell?
Yes, I think so. I don't want to get in trouble.
And then they wrap up with a champagne toast in honor of Teresa's engagement. If I was Margaret and Melissa and probably Jackie and maybe Traci backstage, I would not want to toast to Teresa.
Mm-mm. She's been a monster.
Seriously. If I was Dolores, I wouldn't, since not getting invited to that engagement party.
I love it that they say that Margaret's not going to be invited to the wedding. And Margaret's like, that's fine. I'll still send a gift. Teresa's like, no. It's just like, Teresa, my goodness gracious. Like, how much deflection and anger do you have in that little body of yours?
Seriously. And then Dolores' toast, a toast to friendship, and toast to women, and toast to Jersey, and toast to country songs, and toast to...
insert another comment for another thing that happened this year.
Yes. I was like, not a great toast.
Cheers to health and happiness to everyone.
Here.
What else can I say?
All right.
And to
Love,
friendship.
love, love.
Cheers to friendship.
And to friendship.
And to making amends.
And to Jersey.
Cheers to Jersey.
No, she was not prepared.
They were looking for something maybe a little bit more witty.
Dolores is still pissed from what Frank said. Right. She's not going to say anything that's going to be logical because she's just thinking about how she's going to scream at Frank later.
Right. Well, That wraps up an awesome, awesome season. The reunion was 3 episodes long. The season was, 12 episodes long?
Yeah.
So the reunion was like a fourth as long as the whole season.
But I'm glad that they didn't drag out so much of the conflict and they got more resolution at the end. Well, some resolution at the end. But, instead of like continuing 3 more episodes and then a reunion, it's
Right.
like, how many times are we going to go over these same subjects?
I agree. Well, next week we will recap episodes 2 and 3 of Beverly Hills. We will also go back to releasing our episodes on the weekends, since Beverly Hills airs Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember off the top of my head. So that'll give us a few days to take notes, record, and edit.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to being back with Beverly Hills. So in the meantime, make sure you follow us on our socials. On Facebook and Instagram, we are The Real Housebears. On Twitter, we are Real Housebears. And you can email us at therealhousebears@gmail.com.
You can also find us on YouTube at The Real House Bears Podcast. And you could listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. But if you're on Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating and a cute little review. And we will announce you on air and make you bear famous.
#HousebearsFamous.
All right, I hope everybody has a great day.
Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Broadway.
That's not a very good sound check.
You can't make me do that.
Well, you don't have to do that.